Oh, hey, didn't see you there. I have been reading that most romantic of all great romance novels, Twilight.
What if I'm not the hero? What if I'm the bad guy?
Yeah, that one. And I found a passage in here that I think might help explain Twilight's success with readers, which is great because I've been kind of confused. I know I'm not the target audience for this. I know that this book was written for tweenage girls, and by the time it was published, I was well into my late 20s, and I was never a teenage girl.
No way!
So I'm not the target audience. However, I do enjoy fantasy, including dark fantasy, and I enjoy plenty of dark fantasy written by women with female leads. So that's not the issue. What is it that makes this book not for me? We'll talk about it. But anyway, several of my students have been kind enough over the last year and a half to gift me with several pieces of Twilight paraphernalia, including the book itself, 3 of these shirts, and 1 of these. They decided that I'm Team Edward. I did a video on this, on Twilight, a year ago, and it turned out to be my best performing video of the year, my second best performing video of all time. February again, coming up towards Valentine's Day, why not talk about it once more? And I have actually been reading this book. I've gotten about 200-something pages into it over the course of like the past year. I will read it in a few pages at a time and set it down and move on to something else. But I don't want to judge it too harshly, given that I understand my own position, that the book is not written for me. I'm trying to judge it as objectively as possible. I tried to do this last year where I was talking about the opening to the book, and oh my god, did the Twilight people come after me. I didn't know they were still out there. If you are a Twilight person, I'm not trying to destroy your favorite thing. I promise there are plenty of other video makers out there doing that, or who have done that. Go after them. I'm actually trying to read it to learn some writing stuff from it. What I have learned is that I will probably never be writing a book like this, because I can't really read through books like this. I cringe too often. I can't stand the narrator's perspective. But I will say, if you've seen the movies, I have not, but I've seen clips of them. I've seen all the reviews. I've seen the pitch meetings and the bad lip readings and all sorts of everything else talking about Twilight. So I've seen enough to know pretty much the entire plot for the entire series, all the major points anyway, at least the movies, and to know that the movies are very different than the books. Bella in the movies sucks. She's generally just a boring plank of wood who makes really stupid decisions. In the book, she's an unhinged mad woman that makes really stupid decisions. And that's way more entertaining. So, if they ever decide to make this into a movie again and really try to stick with the tone of the book, I might watch it just for gits and shiggles, you know? It'll be a lot of fun. Anyway, here's that passage, without further ado. This is as Bella is walking through the woods and basically trying to decide if her Google search is correct and the Cullens, Edward and his family, are truly vampires. She's just walking through the woods by herself, by the way, on a rainy day, wondering if her crush, her soon-to-be boyfriend, is a blood-devouring monster. Could the Cullens be vampires? Well, they were something. Something outside the possibility of rational justification was taking place in front of my incredulous eyes. Whether it be Jacob's cold ones or my own superhero theory, Edward Cullen was not human. He was something more. So then, maybe. That would have to be my answer for now. And then, the most important question of all. What was I going to do if it was true? Run. Anyone sane would know, hey, my boyfriend has killed and eaten people. I should probably not be with this person. I should run. But not our protagonist. Thank God. That's part of what makes this novel entertaining, is that she is the definition of unhinged. If Edward was a vampire, I could hardly make myself think the words, then what should I do? Involving someone else was definitely out. I couldn't even believe myself. Anyone I told would have me committed. Unless they noticed the same things you notice. But for some reason, Bella notices things that other people don't notice, even though there's no reason that she should be noticing these things. Like, the only thing that makes Bella different is the fact that she is so unhinged. And maybe that's what Edward means, because he continually tells her how different she is from the other girls, how strange and unusual and how unique, and how, like, there's a reason she's captured his attention, which mainly is because he can't read her mind, which according to the movies seems like there's nothing in her mind to read, and that's why he can't read it. That is certainly not the case in the books, because we're in her mind the whole time, and there's a bunch of stuff in her mind, and it's all bat guano crazy. Only two options seemed practical. The first was to take his advice, to be smart, to avoid him as much as possible, to cancel our plans, to go back to ignoring him as far as I was able, to pretend there was an impenetrably thick glass wall between us in the one class where we were forced together, to tell him to leave me alone, and mean it this time. Yeah, you probably should. He's actually looking out for you here. But she sees those red flags and she's a bull. I was gripped in a sudden agony of despair as I considered that alternative. My mind rejected the pain, quickly skipping on to the next option. I could do nothing different. After all, if he was something sinister, he'd done nothing to hurt me so far. In fact, I would be a dent in Tyler's fender if he hadn't acted so quickly. Referencing something earlier in the book where Edward suddenly saves her from being hit by a car and then gaslights her about it ever happening. But if it was a reflex to save lives, how bad could he be? I retorted. My head spun around in answerless circles. Oh, honey. Oh. Oh, don't get fooled by that. Oh. Oh, no. Okay. There was one thing I was sure of, if I was sure of anything. The dark Edward in my dream last night was a reflection only of my fear of the word Jacob had spoken, and not Edward himself. Really? You're sure about that? And I knew in it that I had my answer. I didn't know if there ever was a choice, really. I was already in too deep. Now that I knew, if I knew, I could do nothing about my frightening secret. Because when I thought of him, of his voice, his hypnotic eyes, the magnetic force of his personality, I wanted nothing more than to be with him, right now. Even if, but I couldn't think it. Not here, alone in the darkening forest. Not while the rain made it dim as twilight. Get it? Under the canopy and pattered like footsteps across the matted earthen floor. I shivered and rose quickly from my place of concealment, worried that somehow the path would have disappeared with the rain. Not while the rain made it dim as twilight under the canopy and pattered like footsteps across the matted earthen floor. That's actually a pretty good description. There's decent imagery there. There's both visual imagery, of course, but when we have this rain, we've also got tactile imagery. We've got the sound patterns. We've got audible imagery. We've got multiple types of imagery there. We can really picture ourselves and place ourselves in the scene. And Stephenie Meyer seems really good at this. Throughout the book, I'm this far in, so I'm about 220 pages in. She's pretty good at placing us in the scene and letting us see, hear, feel, touch, taste the whole thing. So in terms of imagistic writing, she's not the bad writer that, say, E.L. James is. We all know 50 Shades of Grey was inspired by this, and I've already done my take on the first chapter of that novel, and I take back nothing I said about that. There are reasons for people to like that book, and I do not knock anyone for doing it. We all have our guilty pleasures. By all means, if you like it, you do you. But that is a badly written book. This, people call this a badly written book. I think they're coming at it from a pretty prejudiced perspective, or a biased perspective. They have a certain standard or a certain type of book that they consider well written. I honestly think that this is a pretty well written book. It's just clearly written for a particular demographic. And boy, I really worry about the main character here. Is that what attracts people to it? That they're just worried that this girl is going to make so many stupid decisions that she's just going to get caught up in something awful? Or are they hoping to see that? Because I can kind of see that. It's the same reason we watch horror movies, to see the stupid characters get slashed up first. That may be the reason people watch this. Unfortunately, we know ahead of time that Bella is probably not going to get slashed up. This story is not going to end the way other more proper vampire stories end. But that's kind of okay, because just to watch her unhinged and just completely out there way of approaching life, relationships, and everything else is super entertaining. I just really hope that no girls actually see this as a model for how to behave, because it's really not. And if your thought patterns do actually look like Bella's, you might need to talk a little closer with that therapist, or you might just need to get a better hobby or find a better boyfriend. Whatever. Anyway, the book is entertaining. It's not for me. It's going to be, I'll finish it soon enough, and maybe I'll give my take on the whole thing eventually. But in the meantime, just from reading that passage, we can see how unhinged and off the wall Bella is, and at the same time, how good with description Stephanie Meyer is, and how good she is at placing us into the scene. I can see why some people might be compelled to read on and really find out what happens here and what the main character is going to go through. My hopes for her are probably not going to be realized. Some books shouldn't have a happy ending, but romance books really do need a happy ending, and this really is a romance book, even with the vampires and everything else in there and all the unhingedness. You could call it almost a rom-com if you wanted to. What do you think of Twilight? Have you actually read it? Do you actually have an opinion on the writing they're in, or do you just think it's a bad book because you've heard it's a bad book and you've seen some of the clips of the movies and they're clearly pretty bad and you have come to that conclusion? That was my conclusion, so I understand. And if you try reading it and it's clearly not for you, I totally understand as well. But let me know, because I'm really curious what other people think about that. And Twilight fans, by all means, hate on me all you want in the comments. It builds the algorithm. Leave your thoughts on Twilight below, or other such things. Are there other such things like this that I should give a try to that might actually work for me a little better than Twilight does? Leave your recommendations in the comments below. Like the video and subscribe to the channel, and consider becoming a member. That would be awesome, and I would appreciate it immensely. Until next time, guys, stay spooky, good luck, good writing. Peace.